Hu Tao is getting a rerun with Neuvillette. So naturally, the big question is, after you get Neuvillette, should you also try and get Hu Tao? In my opinion, probably not. We're here with Masanori and Hu Tao. The thing about Hu Tao is that 99.999% of the time, you're just basically playing her as an on-field vape carry. So I personally don't find myself playing Hu Tao all that much, because whenever I feel like playing an on-field vape carry, I end up playing Diluc instead. But otherwise, I also end up playing off-field pyro characters like Shangling instead, or even Dehya instead. But still, I'll just quickly show you what has happened since her last rerun, because there is one character in particular who I think is a little bit interesting to talk about with regards to a Hu Tao rerun, and that's Dehya. Let's do this. So there are, of course, quite a variety of Hu Tao teams that are VV Vape teams. One of them also includes Amber. I don't know how to play that one. I think you need C6 Amber as well. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I'm gonna play the Dehya version, because why not? Yeah. In the end, kind of just wasted Yolan's ult there. But either way, you get the idea. Basically, we're able to do VV Vapes and do quite a lot of damage with Hu Tao. I think I saw some 45,000 charge attacks and all that jazz. It could potentially get higher if I pay a bit more attention, I guess. But either way, Hu Tao typically does quite a lot of damage, so that's what tends to make her really, really good, and that's what also makes Hu Tao mains really, really vocal. Thing is, like I said, whenever I feel like playing an on-field VV vaping character like Hu Tao, I kind of end up just going with C6 Diluc instead, because personally I find C6 Diluc a little bit more fun than Hu Tao. But Hu Tao is pretty interesting in her own right, especially depending on how far you decide to invest into her. So let's just quickly talk about the kinds of things that you should be thinking about if you decide to actually get Hu Tao, because despite the fact that Hu Tao has already had a couple of reruns and she's about to have her own rerun, the last rerun she had was with Yolan, and that one made all of the money. So I'm going to take a wild stab and say that most people who wanted Hu Tao, they already have Hu Tao. But anyway, if you are still trying to get Hu Tao, let's have a look at the kinds of weapons that you might want to be thinking about, because honestly at this point, 99% of the time you're only really considering one of three weapons, and that is Dragon's Bane, Homa, or Deathmatch. Now obviously, Homa is her best weapon, but it's not really the only weapon that works on her. Dragon's Bane works really, really well on her. Deathmatch also should work really, really well on her, because it is, of course, a low base attack, high crit rate weapon, so that's going to be really, really good for Hu Tao. But honestly, at this point, like, once you are determined to use one specific weapon, just stick with it. You don't need to go all wishy-washy and like try to get a Homa for Hu Tao or anything if you're already committed to using Dragon's Bane, or if you've already pre-farmed for Hu Tao and it happens to be a Dragon's Bane build. That's it. Stick with that. You'll be fine. Let's move on. You know, it's that kind of deal. I feel like with Hu Tao, you don't have to like swap your weapons around and do crazy shenanigans like that. Hey guys, this is Kate the Editor. So I also forgot about a weapon called Ballad of the Fjords. This is a mid-attack, mid-crit rate weapon, but at R5 it actually provides 240 EM for Hu Tao's teams, provided she's not running double pyro, double Hydro. So when you're playing a team like, for example, Hu Tao Zhongli double Hydro, there's 3 elemental types in your party, and as long as there are 3 elemental types in your party, your EM will be increased by 240 at R5. So this weapon is basically Dragon's Bane, but with crit rate. But the thing that Dragon's Bane has that this weapon won't provide you with is a damage bonus against enemies who are wet. So it kind of potentially sort of evens out a little bit, but if you want to have a weapon that's easier to build around compared to Dragon's Bane, then Ballad of the Fjords is a really good option. Now, speaking of pre-farming for Hu Tao, it is actually a lot easier now to pre-farm for Hu Tao if you don't have her, because naturally she has been around for a very long time, but that also means that like her artifact sets are available from the Strongbox, and we are of course talking about 4-piece Crimson, 4-piece Shimenawa, and also 2-piece, 2-piece, whether it be 2-piece Crimson, 2-piece Attack, or 2-piece Crimson, 2-piece EM. It's entirely up to you how you want to play that, but all of these are in fact very much available via the Strongbox. But what's very interesting with Hu Tao is that she can also potentially use the Marashose Hunter. So Marashose Hunter being a newer set, you might not have a particularly great one for Hu Tao just yet, but theoretically it should work really, really well with her in a slightly sus manner, because when you use her skill, she loses health. That counts for 1 stack of Marashose Hunter, and then when you use her burst, she heals, so that should count for a 2nd stack for Marashose Hunter, which means the sus thing is trying to get that 3rd stack. Generally speaking, Hu Tao's not keen beans on having a healer on the team, so you might end up eliminating that idea. So potentially getting hit, or potentially playing some sort of weird burn team with Hu Tao, which I don't think works for the most part. I don't know. You're gonna have to figure out how you want to get that 3rd stack. But otherwise, Marashose Hunter, if you can figure out a way, should work really, really well with Hu Tao. In terms of the artifact stats themselves, it actually depends on which weapon you're using. If you're playing Dragon's Bane, because it has so much EM, HP Pyro Crit is pretty much the way to go. Just stick with that. That's your artifacts. If you're running Homa or Deathmatch, EM Pyro Crit is probably the way to go. Now, if you're playing with Sucrose, then you can probably stick with HP Pyro Crit anyway. If you're playing with Nahida somehow in some weird burn team, or dare I say some weird Virgin team, then HP Pyro Crit is probably the way to go, or EM Pyro Crit if you're trying to do Burgeon. But yeah, either way, if you're using D-Bane, as a general rule, HP Pyro Crit. If you're not using D-Bane, EM Pyro Crit, move on. And with regards to Hu Tao's Constellations, there's really only 2 worth talking about, and that's C1 and C6, mainly because C1, it will kind of change your gameplay experience with Hu Tao, in the sense that I'm running C0 Hu Tao, so I jump cancel. C1 Hu Tao's, they dash cancel. That's it. Honestly, once you figure out the muscle memory between jump cancelling and dash cancelling, you don't really need to go for the other one. So if you are sticking with C0 Hu Tao and you get used to jump cancelling, that's it. You're good to go. If you get C1 and you get used to dash cancelling, great. Wonderful. Fantastic. Apparently C1 Hu Tao with dash cancelling is a bit more DPS, but who cares? Like, it's so minor, like, whatever, who cares? Of course, I'm going to see Hu Tao main in the comments being like, no, it's very important to know that. No, it's not important. Hu Tao already does a lot of damage. Chill. And of course, then we have to talk about C6 for about 3 seconds, because C6 is, its existence is for memes. So if you're going to go for if you're going to go for like higher constellations than C1, you might as well just flex the wallet and go all the way to C6 at that point, because I don't remember what C2 or C4 is, and neither do you. Neither does anyone. C1 and C6 are the only ones that matter. That's very much it. Not really a whole lot of information to talk about, mainly because Hu Tao's been talked to death. Kind of like Zhongli and Tatalia, I feel like I don't need to go into too much detail with regards to her, because, you know, there's like 500,000 guides that are like 25 minutes long that'll basically cover everything that I've just said. So, you know, I think we already know. You have 3 weapons to think about. Just stick to those 3. You have 3-ish, 4-ish artifact sets to think about. Stick to them. You're good to go. Your artifact stats, pretty straightforward. And there's really only 2 constellations to think about, and one of them is for memes. That's Hu Tao. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. How do you play Hu Tao? Maybe there's something like extremely niche that you do with Hu Tao. Let me know in the comments. The only like other thing that I will say with regards to Hu Tao is whenever I play Hu Tao, I change the language to Chinese, because for some reason the Chinese voice of Hu Tao really resonates with me. It's odd. I don't know why. It just is what it is. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Genshin Impact action, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.